wonderful to see all of you. This is Dr. Susan, and we're here to do a series on play and learn. Today, we're going to see how we can use our observation and also possibilities of that observation, of what we see and we don't normally think about. This story is a story that's called Sky Color. And here's the book. We'll get into the book in just a minute. And the book is by Peter Reynolds. And the story is about a little girl called Marisol. So let's get started on the story, and then we'll see how that filters out with observation and possibilities. All right? So let's do that. All right. Oh, our parrot's going to tell the story today. Sky Color. Peter H. Reynolds is the author and the illustrator. He did the story and the pictures. Marisol was an artist. She loved to draw and paint, and she even had her very own art gallery. Isn't she lucky? She put all her pictures up on the refrigerator. How many pictures do you have in your refrigerator at home? I know I have a lot. Not all her art hung in a gallery. Much of it she shared with the world. She painted posters to share ideas she believed in. At school, Marisol was famous for her creative clothes, her box of art supplies, and her belief that everybody was an artist. And she always wanted to give gifts of supplies so that they could try that out and see if that was one of their talents. Yes, Marisol was an artist through and through. So when her teacher told the class that they were going to paint a mural for the library, Marisol couldn't wait to begin. That sounds very exciting. The classroom buzzed with sounds of brainstorming. The students talked and sketched together. They made a great big drawing. Then they marched to the library. I'll paint a fish. I'll paint one too. I'll paint the ocean. Marisol shouted, I'll paint the sky. See her there? She has her box of paints and jars. Marisol rummaged through the box of paint, but she couldn't find any blue. How am I going to make the sky without blue paint? Wow, she has a challenge. See how she solves it. The bell rang. It was time to put their brushes down for the day. As she climbed aboard the bus, Marisol kept wondering. All the way home, she stared out the window. Pay attention to what she sees out the window that she doesn't realize she sees. The sun lowered closer to the horizon. That's where the sky and the land meets. That's the horizon. There's the school bus chugging along. Later at home, Marisol watched day turn into night. See the sky? That night, Marisol settled down into a deep dream. She certainly was artistic. Look at all the pretty pictures that she has. She drifted through a sky swirling with colors. The colors mixed, making too many to count. That's a pretty colorful dream, don't you think? In the morning, Marisol stood waiting for the bus in the rain. The sky was not blue. She smiled. I think she just had an idea. At school, Marisol raced to the library. She grabbed a dish and began adding colors. This one and that one. She swirled the brush to mix them all together to create a new color. Marisol began painting on the wall. A boy asked, "What color is that?" "That," Marisol said, "that is sky color." There's their banner. And look at the sky. That is sky color. And look, even the fish that they all painted together, and the ocean. And you can see the horizon line where the ocean and the sky meld together. Isn't that a cool picture? The end. Oh, look at that picture. That's a cool picture too. So as we can see, what we talked about a little bit before was about observation and possibilities. So what did she observe? So we'll quickly go through that particular part. She was just staring out the window on the drive home from school. And I don't think she was thinking about the color of the sky that she saw. She just saw it. She wasn't consciously looking at it and going, oh, the sky is kind of a yellow color. She wasn't thinking that. She was just looking. She was observing. And then, of course, when she went home, stood out on the porch, she continued to observe. Again, you can't tell from the look on her face or there was any ideas that they were sharing about what she was thinking. And then she had her dream. And in the morning, it was raining. So the sky wasn't any color, unless you want to use gray. But gray is a color too. So then she knew exactly what she wanted to do. So she observed, and it created a possibility for her. This could be what I could do. So as you saw in the book, she went to school, added all the colors together, and that was sky color. So how many times do we get the opportunity to observe things, even when we're not paying attention? We're still observing. So, and if you like drawing and things like that, a lot of people draw lots of different things. I know I have a friend that likes to draw planes and military things, and I know he enjoys drawing those things. I have some other friends and children in my class that love to draw flowers and plants and trees and stuff like that. Doesn't mean they want to do it all the time. They're just observant that they see those things. But the cool part about this is you may see something and observe something, but it doesn't necessarily mean what you see and then what you perceive as the cool look that you saw, and you put it down, but it doesn't look like anything that you saw out there. It came from what you envisioned and what you saw in your head and what you thought about and what your observation and what ideas came to you through that observation. And that created the possibilities of amazing things. I don't know how many of you get to go to art galleries and maybe the museum where you get to see paintings and things like that. There was a very long time ago an artist that there was a duck pond, and the sky was purple, the ducks were orange, the water was green, and I can't remember the colors of the flowers and the plants that were around the pond. And you think like, wow, that's an odd picture. Yet, it was very popular and very famous. And people really like to go to the museum to look at it because it's so unique and so different. So as we're all unique and we're all different and we all see things differently, like we could probably do a little test if you wanted to try that and have 3 things sitting on a table. And then you have your mom or your dad or sister, like a fun game at home. And you arrange those things and you let them look at it for maybe a minute. And then you take all those things away and you give them a piece of paper and say, can you draw what you saw? And some people will do amazing with that. And other people go, I saw a box. And they drew a box because that's what they saw. They didn't see that it was a certain color or there was writing on it or anything else. It's all how you observe. And it's all perfect because we're all unique and different. So I wanted to think of a way in which I could come up with something that Marisol might have created. And what I came up with is I have stencils at home. And this one has the moon and the stars, and let's see if I can get it out. and set so that you can see it. And clouds, I think they're clouds. I'm not quite sure. I'm going to lay it here so you can see what it looks like. So it looks like that. So you can see the white through it and the different shapes and the stars and little circles and moons. I'm assuming those are full moons because it's supposed to be a sky design, I guess. And so I was looking at this and I thought, I wonder what I could do with that. So I decided I'm going to, because I observed that, and then there was another paper that came with that. It was kind of different. So I got that out, and I'll show you that one too, to show you how I came up with what I thought would be fun to do, and how many times we can, how many things we can create where we don't have to have guidelines or lines to work with and things like that. So this one is just a bunch of lines all connected together. I suppose it reminded me, this little section right here reminded me of a rope because it's twisted. That was what it reminded me of. This one reminded me of a leaf there. And some of the others just reminded me of hair. Yeah, people's hair. But that's what that reminded me of. Now, someone else looking at this might see something totally different than what I saw. Okay? So I had this one, and I had this one. Those are the two stencils that I had. And I thought, well, what would this inspire me to do? Marisol, I imagined she would just go amazing and do all kinds of wonderful things with it. So what I came up with, and this is, of course, here, I'll lay these here so you can still see them while I'm working. So those are the stencils that I had, okay? So what I ended up creating is I did this. You probably can't see it really well until we get some color on it. I had these boards called Masonite, the board. And at one point in time, I colored it apricot. I don't know why. I don't remember the reason. But anyway, I had these in my supplies that I have at home. And I thought, well, how about an apricot sky? People have had purple skies. Why not? So probably if you looked at sunset, you'd probably see an apricot or a light orange kind of color. So that's going to be our sky, is that. And then I took the clouds, I'm assuming they were supposed to be clouds, and I made a tree with all the different designs of the clouds. Now when I did it, I traced them with pencil. You can see that right here. I traced them with pencil, and they're kind of all interlocking right now. So now I have another choice. I had individual things like this over here, and now I have another choice. I can color these. I figured they're branches on a tree or leaves on a tree. That's kind of what I saw when I saw those things. And what else would I could do with it besides having it look like a sky? So that's what I did. Is I drew a tree, and then I put these on it. So I'm going to take some of the colors, the Sharpie color, the paint marker colors that I have, and I'm just going to outline just a couple of them. You might not be able to see this really well. And they're all, because all the lines are overlapping each other, I can create anything I want. And the design isn't going to be the same as when I originally did it. It's a little hard to see. I think I'm going to get my Sharpies out and do that, because I think that'll work better. Not that one. Here we go. Here's pink. I started out with pink. So I'm going to use my Sharpies. I think that'll work. Yeah, that's much better. So we're going to go around, and I'm going to do this one. Of course, this is supposed to be a tree, but again, this is my imagination, and I just thought I would create a rainbow tree. So that's what I've done. And I've used the cloud stencil just to make my pattern. So I think I'm just going to outline these, and I'll color them in a little bit later. But this, in my imagination and in my observation of those pictures and these things here, that I think I'm just going to make it into a tree, which is what I did. So I'm just going to kind of outline some of these so you can see what I was thinking about. I think you can see me do this. So this is more of the designs. There's a green. Set that here. And purple. This is pretty colors. Now the guy's probably not thinking this is so cool, but they can create whatever they see in their minds on this design. This one goes all the way over here. So there's the purple. And let's see. We will do green because there are green trees, right? Well, I think I did green already, but that's all right. So we'll go around like this. So the whole idea is that you can create and see and do anything you happen to observe, and then you have the possibilities of making it into anything that you want. Do you know that some people observe things, and you know what they do with what they observe? They write poetry, or they write a story, or they create a picture, or some people create music out of things that they observe, or they hear, or they just get a feeling, and it kind of plays music in their head, and that's how they create songs and music. People create songs out of events that happen. You know, we've heard songs like that, and they create songs that tell a story. They do all kinds of amazing things, and a lot of it is observation. And when they observe something, which Marisol did a lot of observing, and she would take those things that she observed and create pictures. And it may not be something she saw yesterday or maybe the day before. She could have seen it a month ago, and that image might have come back to her or just created itself in her head, and she sees it in her mind, and she goes, I think I'll do something with that. And it'll come out on paper, because she seemed to like paint and paper, and that's the things that she did. So she loved doing that kind of a thing. So we can do the same type of things in this kind of a drawing, because I looked at the stencils and I said, what could I do with that? So I did, and I created this that I'm drawing right now. And through the different forms of observation, I'm really looking for brown, so excuse me just a second while I find my brown. There it is. Okay, so I'm going to do my tree trunk right now. So there's my tree. And there's a branch, and I have another branch over here. And there's one coming up here. And this I just drew last night. I just did all those stencils like that. And there's the tree. I'll come out on this side. And there's a tree branch. And I'll come down this way. And trees come in lots of different shapes and colors and textures. And so I'm just going to color these in a little bit. I may add some other colors, maybe some dark or gray or something like that. So, and then of course I did a moon. You know, we have that. There's that song, The Silvery Moon, so we're going to make our moon silver. Does it sound exciting? So I'm going to turn it this way so you can see me doing this. So we have a silver moon by The Silver Moon. People wrote a song about that. Did you know that? They wrote songs about the silver moon. So we're going to oblige and do it silver. And then there's stars. Now I know when you look out on the stars at night, when you get a chance to see the stars are, they look like white to me. But, and I don't think it's an actual physical star. I think it's gases that are in that shape. So I'm going to take my gold, I think it's bright enough to see, and make the stars. So I'm making my own, kind of like a rainbow tree and stars, and the stars, the representation of the stars is just X's, not like that, because I'm not super good at making other star, you know, like what we think of as star shape. Okay, so we have some stars in our apricot sky, and then down over here. So we could say this is sunset, right? because we can't see the stars during the daylight. I know they're there. And then we have these tiny little moons. So I think I'll get my silver back out again and make the rest of these little moons silver. And I hope you try this. It's kind of fun when you don't have to do a tree that has a brown trunk and green leaves and maybe red flowers or orange flowers or whatever. That you can do all kinds of different things with it. Now, this one down here, I took, I don't know which shape it is, one of these shapes here, and I put it this way. So I decided that I think what I'm going to do with that, and I'm going to do pencil first, is I'm going to make this into a flower. So I'm going to go like this and give it a stem and a hill to plant it in. And then I'm going to come up here and have leaves come off of it. And this is just my drawing for leaves. So the leaves are coming out of the plant. And like I said, I think this was supposed to be a cloud. So I have a cloud plant that I created. So there's that. And I can put more leaves down here. So my estimation was that this was a plant. Here's my purple. I like purple, so I'm going to make a purple plant. So this is probably going to be the flower that comes out of the base of the plant. Okay, down to there. It has a little curly Q here. So there's my flower, and maybe I want to make little circles like this or something to depict other lines in the flower. Or just color it all purple. We could do that too. So just make little lines so it looks like a flower. So we'll get, I guess we'll do green leaves so at least it looks like a flower, right? Has some semblance of a flower. So we're going to put the leaves in here and a couple of them here. But this is again that chance that you get to make anything that that you think about. It doesn't have to look exactly like what you saw. It can be a representation of what you saw. And all of that is perfectly fine, and that is also a chance, a way to allow our creativity to express itself. So, okay, we'll give it a little bit of brown here for the stem into the ground. Oh, and I wanted to show you what I thought about the little hair squiggle thingies there. Well, I thought it was hair. Didn't have to be. But what I thought I would do with it, I'm going to get a green marker, is to take this and just make this grass. There were some of the lines that I created off of that. The little squirrely lines and things like that, round curve winds. And I just made grass. So there's grass growing under my tree. Put some more over here too. So there is my observation of deciding that I wanted to have a rainbow tree, not a tree that just has green leaves. And I used the stencil like that. Let's see if I can find this one. Oh, here it is. It's this one right here. So there's the stencil there that I did. At least I think it is. There we go. So there's that stencil. Let's see if you can see that. But I took that stencil and traced it and made it into a flower. And those are very interesting clouds too. You could just make really cool clouds if you wanted to just do something on the ground and then a sky. And again, the sky could be any color that you want the sky to be. So our sky again was apricot, which is different. So we don't have to limit our observations to look exactly like it is of what we saw. And just as Marisol did, she took all those colors, she blended them all together, and then she spread them on the sky. And that became the sky color, which is the name of the story. which was a very cool way to use her observation and possibilities of what she could create with what she had. And that's the cool part, to be able to use what you have to create something fun, easy to look at, and something you enjoy doing. So if you want to make a wild picture out of something that you observe or that you see, please do, because it gives you a chance to be very creative. And you can also do it in different forms. It doesn't have to be on a piece of wood, it doesn't have to be on a piece of paper. You can make it out of clay, you can make it out of wood, you can make it out of metal, you can make it out of Legos. Have you ever done that? You can make it out of building blocks, you can make it out of all kinds of things. So whatever you happen to observe and see and you want to recreate it, add your own spark and add your own uniqueness to it so that it's something very original that no one's ever seen before. So, as I said, the lady that created that painting that had orange ducks and purple sky and green water was amazing. And it's something that lots of people like to go to the museum and see. You never know. Maybe one of your pictures will end up in a museum, or art, or sculptures, or whatever. Just use your imagination, have fun, and use what you have. If you feel like you're limited because you don't have something specific to create something you're thinking about, see what's laying around that you can add to that and make it real unique and real special. So have a fun week, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care.